Okay, so let's just jump right in. We're looking at August 2025 as this really pivotal moment for artificial intelligence. And what's so fascinating is that we're seeing its power just explode in two totally different directions all at once. And it's creating this challenging new reality for all of us.
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? On one side of the coin, you have this incredible engine for creation. I mean, it's pushing the limits of science and creativity like never before. But on the other side, a whole new set of challenges, economic disruptions, brand new risks, and some really deep questions about our future. This duality, this tension, that's the story of AI right now.
All right, so let's dig into that first side of the coin, this breathtaking creative explosion. And look, we're talking about way more than just better chatbots here. This is a fundamental rewrite of the rules for how we discover and invent things. So, the first big domino to fall was the launch of GPT-5. Now, this isn't just a small step up. We're seeing benchmarks that show a 40% improvement in complex reasoning over the last version. That's not a little bump. That's a huge leap. It's integrating text, images, and audio in a way that just feels, well, a lot closer to how a person actually thinks. Okay, but here's the bigger question, right? It's one thing for an AI to answer our questions, but can it start asking its own questions? I mean, can an AI actually step into the shoes of a scientist?
Well, the answer seems to be a pretty resounding yes. Down at Stanford, researchers built what they're calling a virtual lab. Think about it like this. They created a whole research team made up entirely of AI agents. They had bots acting as the lead researcher, other bots doing the work, even bots to critique the ideas. They were literally holding meetings, designing experiments, and creating new drugs. And the craziest part, over 90% of their proposals actually worked in real-world tests. All of this with humans providing just 1% of the input. It's just wild.
And it doesn't even stop there. In what might be an even bigger deal, a generative AI actually invented a brand new CRISPR enzyme completely from scratch. You see, this isn't just about tweaking something that already exists. This is an AI creating a novel piece of biotechnology, something that nature has never seen before.
And that quote you see there really just nails it. This is a massive paradigm shift. We're moving from a world of human-led research to one of machine-driven creativity. Our role is changing, from being the one at the lab bench to being the one who oversees the AI that's at the lab bench.
Okay, so that's the incredible creative side. But every coin has two sides, right? Let's flip it over and talk about the other one, the massive economic shakeup this is causing. Because for all that promise, there's a whole lot of peril for the workforce.
Now, the upside is, well, it's huge. Economists are looking at a potential 15% boost to labor productivity once this tech is fully adopted. To put that in perspective, that is a game-changing amount of efficiency for the entire economy.
But, and this is the giant but, that exact same report estimates that this same AI could displace up to 7% of the entire U.S. workforce. That's millions and millions of jobs. You see, productivity and displacement aren't two different things. They're two faces of the exact same technological leap.
And if you're thinking, oh, that's just factory jobs, well, think again. Just take a look at this list of jobs most at risk. We're talking about computer programmers, accountants, legal assistants. These are skilled professional jobs that, frankly, we all thought were pretty safe. And then you look at the least at risk column, and it's not always what you'd expect, is it? It just goes to show how complicated and non-intuitive this all is.
Want a real-world example of this happening right now? Let's talk about the NFL, of all places. Microsoft AI is being woven into everything they do. Coaches are getting real-time strategy suggestions from an AI assistant during games. Teams are using AI to scout draft picks. And get this, they're even starting to use AI agents to handle the absolute nightmare of managing the salary cap. These are high-stakes strategic roles, and AI is already there.
So you've got this incredible creative engine and this massive economic disruption, and it all leads to one giant overarching question. You could call it our great societal test. We've built these unbelievably powerful tools, but do we actually know how to steer them? Can we govern what we've created?
Check this out. This is a really fascinating and kind of spooky experiment. Researchers built a social media site, but there were no people on it, only AI chatbots talking to each other. And they took out all the usual algorithms that push you towards certain content, and guess what happened? It still quickly polarized into angry echo chambers. What does that tell us? Well, maybe the problem isn't just the algorithm. Maybe it's something more fundamental about social interaction itself.
And look, these risks aren't just theory. They are very, very real. Listen to this story from the American Medical Association. A hospital starts using an AI tool to predict mortality risk. It looks at a 6-month-old baby with RSV and flags the child with an 85% chance of dying. Terrifying, right? But the pediatrician knew that was just wrong. Turns out the AI model had never been tested on children. And that quote from Dr. Lazavatsky says it all. This is why you need clinicians in the conversation. You absolutely have to have that human expertise in the loop.
It's exactly because of stories like that, and the potential for things to go much, much worse, that we're now seeing this huge global push for governance. It really is a race to build the guardrails that let us innovate, but also protect us from the very real downsides.
So, who's building these guardrails? Well, one of the key players in the U.S. is NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And they've got a plan. As you can see, it's a step-by-step approach. They're starting with existing cybersecurity rules, then making new guidelines specifically for things like chatbots, and then moving all the way to securing those super advanced autonomous agents we talked about earlier. The whole goal is to create a solid foundation for safety.
And you know, this isn't just a US thing. It's happening everywhere. The EU is finalizing its big AI Act. The White House has an action plan. And states aren't waiting around. California, Texas, and others are all jumping in with their own rules. It's a bit of a messy patchwork right now. But what it really shows is the sense of urgency everyone is feeling. So, after all that, where does that leave us? It kind of brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? We're standing in the middle of these two incredibly powerful, opposing forces, trying to figure out how to build a future. At the end of the day, the story of AI isn't about picking a side. It's not creation versus challenge. We can't just hit the brakes on progress to avoid risk, but we also can't just floor it and ignore the dangers. The real task, the hard work, is learning how to manage this duality, how to embrace the incredible creativity while thoughtfully navigating the profound challenges.
Which leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As we weave these AI systems deeper and deeper into our lives, into our science, our jobs, our society, what are we actually building? Is it a tool that we control, or is it becoming an oracle that we simply follow? The answer to that question is going to define the next chapter of our story.